Critical conversation is a conversation that reveals important content, not only about ourselves, but about other people. Critical conversations edify, heal, and provide substance. Join Latanya Harris Gooden as she introduces us to critical conversations right here on Trailblazers Radio.
Hello, everybody. This is LHG. I am just coming to let you know that I am an independent paparazzi jewelry consultant. You didn't know that, did you? Well, now you know. So I would love to be your personal jewelry lady. Paparazzi is an amazing company. We sell nickel and lead-free jewelry. We are known for our $5 bling, but you just need to know there is an exclusive Z collection that's $25. It's the bling of all bling when you're really going out on the town and you want to show up absolutely fabulous. So we have items for women, for men, and for young fashionistas out there. We don't discriminate. If you need it, I'm sure we got it. You have the opportunity to follow my page on Facebook called Polished on Purpose, a VIP group. Follow my personal page, Latanya Harris Gooden. And I have my own website that is at your disposal 24/7. So many ways to shop. So let me be the one that makes sure you are accessorized the way you should be. Because I want you to be polished on purpose. My mentor always tells me, when you show up, people are checking you out. They're watching you. So why not be polished, be poised, be purposeful? Glam it up with pop, honey. I got what you need. Hey everybody, good evening. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Get in here. Get in here. Tonight is going to be a hot one. It's going to be a hot one. Are y'all in here? Are y'all in here? So, welcome to a special Friday night edition of Critical Conversations presents A Man with Sensitivity. No, I'm not a man. But we're going to be talking to a man. That's going to be my special guest and possibly a couple of brothers that might roll through. But I am married to a man. I have a dad. I have a stepfather, aka dad. I have brothers in my life. So I think that this is a discussion worthy of having. If you saw my commercial, as you see on the beginning of every show, hi, Auntie Diane. Y'all roll on through here tonight. I am a paparazzi consultant. For those of you who love jewelry, we do sell men and women jewelry, and I have so much to offer. I'll make sure I put my paparazzi website in the comments. Thank you for joining, Auntie. I just love you so much. You have such a beautiful spirit. So I also want to remind you all, I haven't mentioned it in a while. If you've been following Trailblazers and you know that Coco Fenton, our sister, we still have her GoFundMe fundraiser going on. She has an autoimmune disease that she's been battling for many years. There's treatment available that's not covered by insurance. We've been trying to raise funds for her to get that treatment over a year's time so that she can get better. I will make sure to get that in the comments soon as well. Tag your friends, tag your female friends, your male friends. We are talking about men with sensitivity. I'm going to pray and then I'm going to bring my guest up. Also, the other commercial you've been seeing is the Business Mixer event that is going to be brought to you by self-love and business guru Kyle Shonda, Chayil Shonda, Chanda. I suggest you follow her. If you need to know more about self-love, self-awareness, business etiquette, she's amazing. This Business Mixer is going to be phenomenal. She's coming on the show on Girl Chat Weekly on May 23rd to talk to you more about it. Tickets are going fast. If you're in the Michigan area, you need to be in the house. If you've been thinking about starting a business, you've started one, but you're not sure where you want to go. If you want to know what you can do for your family as far as legacy in terms of business, you need to be in that room. There are going to be some very influential and powerful people in that room speaking information that will change your life in terms of setting you up for success. All right, let's pray. And we got a good show tonight. So, Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for the gift of life, breath, health, strength. All five of my senses are working. The ability to be able to think, to live and move and have my being in you. I thank you for stability. I thank you, Lord, for the victory in you that you've given me. No matter what we face, God, we still are claiming the victory through you, Christ Jesus. Tonight, God, as we talk about the brothers, our men, there's been so many myths and lies and incorrect doctrines that's been spoken into our brothers about not expressing emotions. Some of our brothers are broken, afraid, confused, lost. And tonight we talk about the fact that you made us as humans and emotions can be male or female. No one should have to cover up how they're really feeling and try to maneuver in this life emotionless like a zombie. So God, tonight let something be said or done that brings freedom, that brings healing, that brings peace. Let us have this conversation and be open to other perspectives, open to people's stories, so that we can start to address the emotional avoidance that's been happening in the male community. So I give you praise and glory and thank you for my special guest coming in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's bring the special guest. Simone, you in here? Simone, get in here, girl. Y'all got y'all water. I done added some red to my water. Woo, hoo, hoo, hoo. Don't come in here ashy or dehydrated, because this show, you can't do that today. LHG is in the house, Simone.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
okay, you gotta turn yours down, Mr. Good. Because we in the same room. All right, Mr. Gooden, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Are you muted?
I'm good. Hello, everybody.
Okay, you may have to come around on this side because that echo is a lot.
Don't know what to tell you. You're on your phone.
My phone isn't on, sweetheart. Can you come around?
I didn't want to.
Okay, he don't want to come around, so we gonna leave him where he at. Simone, you want to come on in here? Let me get you the link, Simone. Hold on. Simone, I need you to text me your email address. I'm gonna email you the link. Hi, everybody. Bear with us as we get our logistics together. Yes, we got to get rid of that echo. It's me and Mr. Gooden are in the same room. He walking around now. Your camera is on, Mr. Gooden. I need to get your email, Simone. Text it to me on my phone, and then I will get you the link.
Okay, is that better?
That is better, Mr. Good. And come on, you didn't work that thing right on out. Come on.
As soon as I get your email address, Simone, I'll get you the link. Listen, y'all. So the show is called Man with Sensitivity. I remember that Ralph Tresvant song that was popular in the 90s. And I thought about that because
What was the name of that song?
Man with Sensitivity. You remember it, Mr. Gooden?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Were you alive in the 90s? You're a little young Thundercat.
You out of order.
And I'm talking about that tonight because I think that there has been some social constructs, maybe even some family in doctrine, or almost like we've been ingrained that men should not express emotions. All right, I'm sending it now, Simone. Hold on, y'all. Let me get Simone this link. Mr. Gooden, talk to the people while I get Simone this link.
What's up?
That's all you gonna say?
Yeah, if I was eating some candy.
Oh Lord, you ain't supposed to be eating. Here comes Simone. I'm sending it to you now for your email.
Look, what kind of show is this now? You ain't gonna tell me what I can eat in now.
Uh-oh. He coming with demands, y'all. He coming with demands. Now you in church. I'm gonna sing some tissue and put that candy in the tissue. Ain't no candy in this show. We in church.
This ain't Dr. Maddie Moss Clark, and I ain't chewing gum.
He ain't got his spirit right, y'all. So I asked Mr. Gooden to come on, and I said to him, y'all, I said, I'm doing a show on men with sensitivity. Y'all know what he said? I ain't coming on that show. So, Mr. Gooden, what made you feel as though when I asked you to come on and you knew the topic, what deterred you? What made you like draw back when I said?
First off, I was already committed to it before I knew. I didn't know I was gonna be on this show, but however, it's all right. I'm here now.
Do you think that you're a sensitive man?
Sometimes.
Okay. Do you think that there's something wrong with men being sensitive?
No, but everybody don't show it, so.
That's very true. Why do you think that men are afraid to show their sensitive side in our community? What do you think is the root of that?
They don't want to be considered like soft. You know, they want to be, hardcore. Could be quite a bit of things.
I think so too. And it's very interesting that you said that. Let me get Simone in here. As soon as I see her picture, I'm gonna get her in here. I give this analogy quite a bit. You have two children on a bike. You have, hey Simone, how you doing, sister? Good.
Hey.
It's a good
Hi, how are you?
Oh, you get to officially meet on the screen.
Sir.
So
I know this is all about y'all tonight, but listen, this woman here, this one right here, don't play about her, okay? Cause
let them know, Simone. Let them know.
This one you got right here, she's something else.
Oh,
listen to me. I don't know if you watch her shows, but listen to me, sir. This woman here is just okay, because she is, I don't know her personally, but I'm telling you, she is the sweetest angel I've met.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's just through social media, like literally. But however, comma, exclamation point, whatever you want to call it. This woman and her jewelry business okay, that's for another show. Let's get back to the topic.
Thank you, Simone.
Thank you, Simone. Appreciate it. Are you in Michigan?
She's in Virginia. Virginia?
No, sir, I'm in Virginia. I wish I was in Michigan so I can squeeze her face and hug her like crazy.
We gotta get together, girl.
We may have to pay Virginia a visit one day.
Yes, let's do that.
Listen.
Yes.
Listen. this woman right here, I listen. The Lord has blessed you and highly favored you. Okay, if you haven't noticed that already, the Lord has highly favored you. Okay, because
you're so sweet, girl.
I'm so serious.
Let me set the stage, because picture two young children on a bicycle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One is a girl, one is a boy. And I've seen this happen in our community. They both fall off the bike. The response to the little girl is always going to be, oh, poor little Keisha. Let me help you. Oh, Lord, she didn't fell off the bike. Come here, come here. Let mama hold you. Oh, Lord. And the little boy is going to be, shut up, Junebug. Get up off the ground. Get back on that bike. Don't you shed not one tear. I don't care. Hey, Lily, I don't care that you're bleeding, the bones coming through the skin. You a boy. Don't start that crying. Shut up that crying. And unfortunately, they the same age, right? They just got off the same type of bike. One, the little boy can be even more wounded than the other. But because he's a boy, there is this overall ideal that he should be tough. They both in pain. They both screaming. But the little boy is going to be told, get up, wipe your face, get back on that bike. Bones sticking out and all. And the little girl is going to be coddled. And that's how we introduce this idea to men that no matter how much you hurt, don't express it. The masculine part of you has to be, suck it up, dry your face.
And you know, I want to add something. You know what's crazy about that? I think because in nature, naturally, because the way God separated us as male and female, He created us as nurturers and as, I guess you want to call it, coddlers. Maybe not. So we're used to, oh, poor baby, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna heal in a few days. It's gonna be okay. And then for them, because we're not technically supposed to be teaching men how to be men. We're now we're in the position to where we have to just say, tough up. Oh well, you got it.
Right.
Because we're not in a position to, we're not supposed to be in a position to raise men or teach men how to be men. So because, like I said, we're nurturers. So when it comes to our girls or our women, we're like, oh, poor baby. When they hurt, we hurt, of course.
Right.
So we're like, oh God, she's in the hospital. I can't take it. Help me, Lord. You know, all the dramatics come out.
Right.
But when it's him and when it is them, we're just like, boy, if you don't tell up off that floor and go about your business.
But we deem emotions as a female phenomenon and not a human experience.
That's true. That is true.
Oh, and there's this myth that all women are emotional. They're gonna cry.
Because naturally we are.
We can be. We can
naturally we are.
But we have to
again, because we are nurturers. We're made to nurture because we birth human beings. We're made to nurture.
We are.
So naturally we are going to be emotional.
But guess what, though, Simone? Some women don't have a nurturing bone in their body. Let's just be honest. Even though we as women,
I agree with that.
We were designed that way. We give birth. We bring forth life. But many of us as women, we don't even know how to nurture. And it can come from our childhood. Now,
I was just going to say that. I was just getting ready to hit on that. I was going to say that sometimes some things happen in our life to where we lose all emotion, we lose all feeling, because, like, again, a lot of things happen to us at one time. So it puts us in a place to where we're just like, oh well. I got no more tears.
If you are a little boy and in your house, they told you to be quiet, don't cry, then what else you gonna do? Get a whooping because you're crying? You gonna not cry?
Yeah.
You're
Or
being
as,
trained
or as
to
Mama said,
support it.
as Mommy says, I'm gonna give you something to cry for.
Listen, I done heard that myself. I'm gonna give you something to cry about. Stop that crying before I get.
Because
Ooh, Lord.
like a lot of things happen and we end up in a place where we just like emotionless, especially if you have a lot of death, a lot of trauma, a lot of all that stuff, and it hits us at one time, and we just left at a point to like you literally see us at funerals just
Right. Another example is
we want to cry but we can't get it out.
right. That's
Like
true.
inside we literally want to cry, but it's like it's not gonna show
Right.
physically because it's like
Right.
we don't know how to.
A Facebook post where there was a man and his son, and he was kissing his son on the forehead, and then the man's father was above him, kissing him on the forehead. Why that post was so controversial? Because we don't typically see men, even family men, kiss each other. I thought it was the most precious moment. It was 3 generations: granddaddy, daddy, and son in one picture, showing affection toward each other. Why did people in that post turn that into some perverted moment?
Because they're not used to, like you said, they're not used to men showing love.
To that.
They're used to us doing it.
Always the mama. Always the mama doing the kissing. Always
mama,
the mama
auntie, mama,
yes.
whatever,
Yes.
sister.
I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let Mr. Gooden respond. I feel like if we gave love equally to sons and daughters, allow sons and daughters to both show emotion, and we address them individually, not just feel mommy is the nurturer, daddy is the disciplinarian. If we balance this out, I think we would have more well-balanced, emotionally sound children and therefore adults.
See what I mean, Mr. Gooden? See what I tell you? You see this? You see?
We got to balance it out.
This is
we are perpetuating that. We are making boys feel like you got to be her. You got to be the Thundercat. You got to be Voltron. And I get that to a point. And part of it could be because men are the providers.
Yeah.
They're the hunters. They're the ones who are responsible for the family. And we're going to get to that. That has a place. That has a place in child rearing. But when these kids are brought into the earth, I don't think it's fair to deny them affection because of their gender. But what's going to happen to them when those young boys become men, they may not respond to real affection as an adult, or they may be overly affectionate.
Indeed.
Because of what they missed. You make them imbalanced when you don't give them the full gamut of love in their child rearing days. There are some parents, and I'm a girl, and my mom wasn't touchy feely. Oh, I love you, sweetheart. You are beautiful. You're going to be great. My mama didn't give me that. So when I had a child, I gave Gabby way more affection. We got a comment coming in. It's crazy, but my husband kissed both. I thought about y'all actually kissed both our son and daughter, and now I love it when my grandson kisses his daddy when he is on the way to work. It is so precious, Felicia. It is. Both sons and daughters need the precious love of their parents. They need to feel that from mommy and daddy. You don't want mama to be seen as the kissy one, and daddy is so hard. Don't bother your daddy. He just came home from work. Don't hug him. Don't kiss him. Leave him alone. He's tired. Leave him alone. They need equality when it comes to affection. And I mean, I'm going on the line here.
NJ.
And then hey NJ, I almost feel like we do our kids a disservice when we separate. Mom can only do this, dad can only do that. Now, what happens when the kid don't have mom and dad?
Yeah.
And then mom has to be both nurturer and disciplinarian and take them to the football game. I just feel like that affection is what helps create a well-balanced human being. They're learning how to love. They're learning how to apply love to the right people in the right ways. So if you have father in the house, but he's not, you can't hug him, you can't kiss him, you create a wall. And now in their mind, I'm a boy. I should never be affectionate to another man, whether it's my dad, my own son, my pastor, my whatever. You create this barrier. And then when you grow up and you see these young men in the streets and they feel like they got to be overly masculine, you got to be hard, you got to carry guns, you got to, hey, you got to show your roughness, you got to be a roughneck. But what's really going on inside of our young men? There's probably some anger. There's probably some pent up frustration, some misplaced emotion. Let me know if you're coming up, CEO. So I got another comment coming in. NJ says, the children need well-balanced love. But how many of us received? Come on in, NJ.
Received.
Did we receive? Can we give what we haven't received?
Absolutely not.
It's difficult sometimes, but not impossible if we want to. I still give my daughter love, affection. I didn't get a lot of it growing up. Let me be honest. No shade against my home. I had all the necessities that we needed in our home. I love my parents. I love my stepdad, aka dad. Rest in peace, Papa. They did the best they could given the mindset they had at the time. But mama was so tired coming home from a job that beat her down. Okay. Sometimes the lack of affection can come from the fact that you're so beat down that you don't really have it to give. But guess what, parents?
Yeah.
Don't penalize your children for what the world is doing to you.
Yeah, and you can't pull from an empty cup either.
Come on. So
if you don't have that love in you, then you can't give it to the world. That's why he said, I've given my only begotten son.
Yes,
all he had.
You gotta be hooked up to the Lord.
A lot of us parents never healed from their childhood.
Yes, no,
that's true. That's true.
A lot of us never healed, but those of us who are believers, okay, we have a God who can fill those deficits. And if anybody has been watching me and watching my show from the beginning of the 6 months where I started, I spent some time talking about my trauma. But then it hit me. Yes, I had the trauma, but I had some good times in my home too. I don't want to always give the publicity to the bad stuff. Did it hurt me? Yes. Did it scar me? Yes. But because I didn't get certain things in my home, it made me say, when I do have a child, he or she is going to know I love them. I want to be tender towards them. I'm the parents. You're the first glimpse of what love looks like. They don't even know God yet when they come in the world. God created them, but they don't know who Jesus is and that he's the epitome of love. So guess what? Oh, Miss Diane, I'm so sorry.
No.
So sorry your brother passed away. We are praying for you. Love you. And I will be after the show.
Praying.
So sorry, Miss Diane. Oh my God.
Oh man.
In the world, y'all. This is another reason why we gotta show love. And I mean show it on a consistent basis. Thank you, Nakori. Nakori gave her condolences to Miss Diane. That's why I love my listeners and watchers. We are loving people. But for me, because of the deficit that I had of that tenderness, and not that it was mama's fault. Mama had a very stressful job. And when she came home from being overworked and misunderstood, she didn't have much left. I went through that too. In corporate can sometimes beat you down to the white meat, to where when you walk out that job, you don't really have much. But parents, we got to muster it up. We got to muster it up from somewhere, from the Lord, from prayer, because these children are hanging on to your every word, what you say, what you don't say. And if you don't show them love, You risk them getting it from another source where it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
If you parents,
And
mothers,
I've learned
fathers
that so much through
are not
childcare.
doing it,
I've learned
woo,
that so much through my childcare experience because it was like you don't know what they've been dealing with through their, through their life. So it's like once you get them in your facility and you see how they act certain ways, and you just like, oh no, I'm not tolerating that. Absolutely, you ain't doing that in my classroom. But then I had to sit down and realize I was like,
mm-hmm.
oh, like
Yeah.
my boss had to, continue to remind me that some of these children have dealt with a lot.
Yes. Many of these children have dealt with a lot. Let me go to Mr. Gooden. Mr. Gooden, if you are comfortable in talking
Chocolate,
about
chocolate.
as a little kid growing up, whether in school or home, what was it like in terms of the comparison between how boys are treated versus how girls are treated?
Well, growing up, it was very different
Mhm.
because my grandmother raised me, and it was me and Aisha, my aunt, in a home together. To
Okay.
where um,
Yes, Nakori.
my aunt Sandra really took me out and about and did stuff like if her and Isha went to the hairdresser, me and my uncle Whitney would meet them at the mall,
Mm-hmm.
go shopping, eat, whatever, what have you. So I had my uncle Whitney teach me how to ride a bike,
Okay.
basketball, and all that.
To the KNJ family, rock with Kristen.
Because my other uncles was doing their own thing,
Okay.
but so mainly it was my uncle Whitney who taught me the basics of being a man and,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, riding a bike, basketball. Between him and my grandma taught me how to tie my shoe, um, different things like that. Um, then I also learned some other things from the neighborhood I grew up in because they were boys, so that jumping out of trees and all that stuff and being a little rough
Mm-hmm.
kid growing up, I learned from the kids on the block. But it was very different.
Now, I'm
I
glad you
would say it was
mentioned
different.
being raised by a grandmother. Let's bring this up because this seems to be a topic that comes up periodically, just whether it's social media or just in passing. Many of us as children, not just boys, many of us as children have been raised by our grandmother for a multitude of reasons. Yes, Nakori, we do find ourselves searching for love in the wrong places. Going back to that comment, if we don't give our children love from home, we leave them to their own devices and their own imaginations, and that could be going to the wrong places. Many of us have been raised by grandparents. That's still happening today, whether it's because a parent has drug addiction or is just not fit, whether a parent has a demanding job and needs the grandparent, grandmom, granddad to step in. Whatever the reasons are, many children, I can't speak for any other community, but in the African American community, many of us have a strong background with our grandparents. I'm one of them. It has been said, I'm not saying that this is true, but I'm going to put it out here in the atmosphere that if a man is raised by a woman, grandmothers, big auntie, cousins, that he is more susceptible to a more sensitive behavior because he's been around all women. Welcome to my CEO, Fred Beatty. And since he just came on, I'm going to pose this to you. Do you believe that because a young man, a young boy is raised around mostly women, grandmother, whoever, and maybe grandmama took him to church and he was always around the motherboard, always around the chicken frying committee, so always around women, I mean, that he may pick up feminine tendencies, sensitivity. How do you feel about that statement, Fred?
That's not entirely true. I'll say that personally because I was raised by both my mother and my father,
Mm-hmm.
and those the qualities of my mom and my dad are both present within me.
Right.
I got the the steadfastness and the hard edge from my father, but also the softness and the caring and compassionate part of me from my mom. But also I personally saw my father show compassion and care and show caring for other people. So watching him do that for other people as well, do that for other people and everybody and other kids in the neighborhood, especially when we were playing baseball in the park. Oh my gosh, it was to see my father at work, with being just as compassionate and caring with other folks' kids, but also showing us the same thing, compassionate, love, and caring. That put me in a vein of like, okay, I don't have to be this rah strong dude. I can show compassion for other people. I can show love and caring and concern for other people. So that particular theory is not entirely true, because I mean, just because a man's been raised by his mother primarily doesn't always equate to sensitivity, to a guy being sensitive. In some cases it is, some cases it's true, in some cases it's not. Like I said, I was raised by both my mother and my father, so I saw those quote unquote sensitive qualities in both my parents. It's just something I tried to emulate from watching both of them and seeing them demonstrate it.
That's good. Now you made a good point when you talked about your father and having those moments in the ballpark. Those tender moments are necessary between father and son. Going to the park, going to get ice cream. Children in general, need to be able to experience those tender moments with their parents. Now, my take on this, as a single mom raising my daughter prior to getting married, I've been blessed to have two of the greatest godparents for my daughter in the world. So where she did not have a father per se in her life, she had a godfather, she had uncle, she had two grandfathers, one is deceased. So there were men in her life that showed up and that still show up. So she has some balance. But when it comes to young boys, there are plenty single moms that are out here raising young men. And as Simone said, no, we can't teach a boy how to be a man, but what we can do is surround them with people that can help in that area, be it an uncle, be it a pastor, be it someone in the community. And this is going back to community. And this is going back to the village concept, where if you see a need, you feel a need. But we are so siloed. Everybody in their own space, on their own. Don't talk to me. I'm not helping you. You ain't got to help me. It's me against the world. The times have shifted where the village concept, and I talked to my husband about this. My husband got about 275 aunties.
Wow. Exaggeration.
But only 5 of them probably are, or 3 of them, 2 of them are actual family. But the point is, there's people who love him, have loved him from, his infancy, and became in our community, y'all. I can't speak to nobody else. In the Black community, auntie is a big thing. If somebody call you auntie, that's vice president mama. That's like, I love you like a secondary mom, and you looking out for me. And aunties can whip your butt back in the day. I'm not sure that's the case now, but
nope, it's not.
It's not.
Nope.
That's important, because whatever mama couldn't do or grandmama couldn't do, auntie would get a hold of your tail and light you up, and you make when you get home.
I don't know. I don't know, because I do have that one aunt that has whooped me.
Bad.
Listen,
bad tail.
And this was probably
Corey.
wow. Had to be about maybe 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
may her son rest.
Rest in peace.
We were up playing the game probably to about 2, 3 in the morning. And she thought I was gone. And I did tell her, Auntie, I'm gone, and end up being at the house. And I got in trouble because she said I told her a lie. And I did not leave. I was there. I called my mom and told her where I was, but I stayed at their house all night. We played video games all night long. When she got up to go to work that morning, me and her son was still playing the game. So yeah, she did whoop me. And I call her Auntie. Yeah. I still call her Auntie to this day.
So question.
Whooping. Go ahead, Simone.
She thought you left the house, but you didn't.
Yeah, because I told her I was leaving. I said, "Good night, Auntie. I'm gone."
That's good.
When she went upstairs to her room, I went back in the room with her son, and we continued to play the video game.
So you pretended like.
And I got it. I got in trouble.
Got it.
But when we're
my mother didn't do nothing. I'm like, dang, it's my aunt.
And I believe that my husband is very sensitive. And that's one of the things that I actually love about him, because my stepdad was sensitive. Now, here's the thing. Not every woman can cohabitate cohesively with a sensitive man. Growing up, and without going too deep, my stepfather, he was in tune to his emotions. He had no problem crying. You know, he felt everything very deeply, very loving. We had moments I couldn't stand him, may he rest in peace, but God. Intrinsically, he was a emotional, kind of sensitive guy. My mom, on the other end, is a very strong, very aggressive, assertive, take charge, control the show, take care of everything type of woman. So at times there were some clashes because she was expecting him to be harder, tougher, more take charge or type of thing. And it was kind of an imbalance. So when my husband and I got together, first of all, we've been knowing each other since we were children. So I already knew that Mr. Gooden was sensitive. And I liked that about him. Then he was also very kind-hearted. He was the kind of young man that will open doors for you, watch out for seniors. And that's been his way since he was a kid. He's still like that now. He may not admit to being sensitive, but if he sees something or feels something, yes, he may cry. When he got the news about his grandfather, yes, I'm like, let those tears out. That's the man who stood by you through a lot of your lifetime. So I believe that we sometimes as women make men feel inferior because they're showing emotion, and we feel that's reserved for us. So I want to get into that. Let me see what NJ just said. How do you walk in your femininity when being with a sensitive man? Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good
question.
You have to want to. Just because a man is sensitive, it doesn't mean he isn't masculine. It doesn't mean that a woman has to become masculine. We have these gender stereotypes where we see masculinity as roughneck, thugged out, and then we see femininity as, oh, come rescue me, big boy. When you have a man that's sensitive and that's in tune to his emotions, that may be an empath. An empath is a person that just feels everything deeply. My stepfather could be watching television and a commercial would come on. Kind of commercials can have those little tear-jerking moments. And he'd be in the corner just like, woo, 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 just, shoulders punching, because he felt whatever it was, he felt it. And it could have reminded him of something. Like when I'm riding down the street, y'all, I can see a billboard, I can smell the fragrance, and it can remind me of a loved one that's no longer here, and I can start crying. That's just feeling. That's human.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll do that.
Everybody can do that.
Don't listen to me. When I put on my t-shirt with my grandparents, with my bless their soul, when I put on my t-shirt with my grandparents, I literally fight tears because it's like they're no longer here, and I'm literally representing them on my body.
And that
Like
can happen at
literally.
any moment. Anything can remind you of someone, and that's male or female. So
That
to
is true.
answer your question from my perspective, Corey, being married to a sensitive man, I don't have to forfeit or compromise my femininity, but I have had to stop trying to be the masculine force in the marriage.
I agree. That's good.
Apparently
That's good.
say, because of what I've seen in my lifetime, my mom is, man, she wore the pants, the blazer, the belt, the tie, the suspenders. That's the kind of mom I have. Extremely, let's do this. This is how it's gonna be. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm not knocking her for that. That's what she knew to do. Because in many times, if one person doesn't do something, the other person assumes the position and they do it. But what I'm learning, I've only been married 5 years in, Jay, so I'm still new to this. And in the beginning, I came into this being like, okay, I gotta show him I'm independent. I gotta show him I got this. And he's like, no, I know what you can do. You can pull back, honey.
And that's what we talked about. I know we talked about it a couple shows ago.
We
Where we
did.
were talking about our femininity being how we are femininity because we put up those walls.
Yes.
When it comes to men, because we've had to be in that position for so long.
Correct. That was my life.
Now when they come in, we're just like, oh no, hit the road, Jack. I got this.
Exactly.
It's my show.
I want to hold on to my femininity because he's married to a woman. So if I continue to come full throttle, my way, then he like, well, what happened to the warm, loving wife, nurturer that I married? Now you're turning into a dictator. You're turning into a man.
Because again, we have been used to doing it on our own.
Yes.
So now we want to run the show.
Yes.
And we tell everybody else, hit the road, Jack.
Yes.
Don't come back no more.
Just because he's sensitive, that does not take away his assignment to lead. Yeah. Get that? Just because you're married to a sensitive man, do not snatch his assignment, women.
Corey said, let the man and or husband lead. That's his assignment, lead, not yours.
Whether he's a sensitive husband or not, you're going to have to let him lead in whoever he is. So if you've married him with all this sense, and let me say this, you want a sensitive man. A sensitive man is in tune, in most cases, to his emotions and probably yours too.
That part.
But see, here's the caveat with that, y'all.
Okay.
And I'm going to have to just say this because, and I'm probably gonna get some pushback from some women, but it's cool. but I'm
you ready for it, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm ready for this.
He stayed ready.
Most women don't know how to deal with an emotionally intelligent dude. Most women have no earthly idea.
You're right.
How to deal with an emotionally intelligent dude. They don't because they don't have the experience in that. And if they don't have the experience in that, they don't have the capacity to do. They don't have the capacity to learn how to deal with an emotionally experienced dude. Because if you're dealing with a sensitive guy or an emotional intelligence and sensitive to me are synonymous, at least to me they are.
I get
when you're dealing with a guy who is sensitive and emotionally intelligent, who is strong enough in his masculinity to know how to express himself in a concise and precise way, and a woman just looks at this dude and be like, well, what the hell are you talking about? You asked me this, you asked me to express my feelings, and I expressed them to you. Now you looking starstruck, or you looking confused.
Right.
Because I said something, or maybe I said something that might have pushed the wrong, that may have inadvertently pushed the wrong button.
Right. Yes,
And if I,
Nicole, I agree with what you're saying. The woman may not have had that experience. If you're in a house where men are abrasive, men are harsh, men are seen as, "Ugh," then then they get a sensitive man in their life. That may be a culture shock. Like,
it
how
would be,
why are you crying? What are you
it
what's
would be.
wrong?
It. Let me tell you, I put it like this. I'm a very sensitive and emotional guy, but that does not take away from the aspects of my masculinity. Matter of fact,
Exactly.
me being sensitive is actually a boon to me. It's a help because it allows
Right.
me to dig into those parts of me, that those sensitive parts of me, or that empathic part of me, and be able to relate to people on an emotional level. Matter of fact,
Right.
a deeper emotional level. But
Right.
then when women look at that, they're like, "Well, you just soft, you a punk." Well, call me what you want, but when you the one hurt, I'll probably be the dude. I'll probably be the dude you probably would want to talk to.
Right.
Right.
Wow.
I'm consoling you.
Right.
I'm the dude that's probably gonna be the shoulder you cry on.
Yes. But I'm glad
Wow.
you said that. Many of the sensitive, emotional dudes that I've talked to have been friend zoned. They become, "Oh, you a great friend,
Yeah,
but I may not want to be in a relationship with you because you're too soft." I've heard women say that.
you know
Okay.
what? Let me
I've
tell
heard
you,
I've
Whoa.
heard that. They want you to be
I'm
that shoulder. I'm gonna cry on your shoulder, but romantically, you're a little bit too soft for me.
that's cool.
Whoa.
That's cool. But
I've heard that.
you know what my answer would be to that? Move the fuck around, then.
Oh.
Move around.
Well,
Let
Oh.
me
okay,
try.
CEO. Well, all right.
Move. See, I'm sorry, but it's got to be said. LSG, move around. You don't want to.
Right.
If you go friend zone me, move around.
That's true. But let me
You
say
know,
this, Fred. You said, okay. This I heard the part about being emotionally intelligent, and that's a big thing in my head because we were doing shows about that. Just because a person is emotional does not mean they have emotional intelligence. The
of course
intelligence
not.
comes in where I'm I'm acknowledging my emotions, I'm expressing my emotions, I'm comfortable in doing that. Now, some men, and I'm gonna put this out there,
Preach.
they may show signs of emotion, but the natural response for me is, "Honey, what's wrong?" And
Yep.
there are times, and I'm talking about this man in his bottom corner on the screen, he's having an emotional moment, but he's not ready to say why.
and
So what
see,
I have to do in my
yeah,
own emotional intelligence say, he's not ready, Latanya. Back off for a
Yeah.
minute. Because the
and
first step to loving
see,
him is to give him space.
and that's the thing. A lot of women don't understand. They don't get that part of it. If if I'm having a moment and I'm not really speaking or not being talkative or anything like that, give me allow me that space to kind of analyze, put this into
Yes, Corey.
some words that I can put them in. Give me a moment to
Right.
kind of put this in its proper perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and then come back to me, and
I agree with
we'll
that,
talk about it,
Fred. I agree.
and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
That's why I
Yeah.
say I'm so glad that I'm with the person that I'm with, because she knows that I'm a sensitive person, and that's the thing that
Mm-hmm.
she loves about it, because she knows I have empathy for people, but she
Yeah.
also knows sometimes that empathy can get me in trouble. So that's why
Mhm.
I'm glad I'm with the person I'm with, because she helps me reel that empathy in, especially
Okay.
when it has no place.
Right.
She balanced you out.
There you go.
Right. So,
There
LHG
you
Fred,
does the
go.
same for me.
well, thank you, sweetheart. But
And
I'm learning. I'm
I
learning
think
about
that
how to
goes
do
both
that.
ways. I think that
Yes.
goes both ways for male and female.
Yes,
Because
Simone.
we both, when we do have those emotional moments for both of us, we have to have that time and that space to say, okay, what is like Ayana, whatever her name is. She says,
Tiana.
sit in your feelings,
Yes.
Hmm.
like to literally analyze and sit there and be like, what is going on?
Right.
Right.
Like seriously, like yeah, and it goes, and I agree
Right.
because in those moments, if we don't sit and think about our feelings, a lot can happen.
That's true. But as a
Trust
woman,
me.
Simone, as for me, I am a natural communicator.
Mhm,
I want to talk about it, and I want to talk about it now
mhm.
because I'm not going to be able to rest until I know what's wrong with this man.
But
So
Yeah.
I'm learning,
sometimes now ain't the time.
and I had to learn that, and I'm still learning that, Fred. I'm learning that because that's what I'm used to. I'm used
Right.
to, okay, I need to know what's wrong with you because I want to fix it.
Nope.
Women are women
Because
when
we're nurturers, we're fixers. We want
yes,
to be fixers.
I want him to tell me what's wrong so I can come up with a solution. But that may
Mhm.
not be my place
Nah,
to do that.
We want to
not at
be
that time.
problem
Not at
solvers.
that time.
We want to be problem solvers.
Not at
Yes,
that
Yeah,
time.
because we've been able to birth you, so now we're like now
we
we
want to fix it.
we're in that place of intimacy with you where
Yes,
we're like,
Right.
okay, what's going on?
right.
Because we gave you life
Mm-hmm.
in some form or another. We gave you life. So
Mm-hmm.
now we're still in that intimacy stage with you where we're like, okay, when you break down, we're like, yo, what's up?
But sometimes looking at the biblical standpoint of being a help me, I want to help, but sometimes help means back up for a minute.
Yep.
You can't
Pull away.
determine how to help gonna look, wives, girlfriends, well, wives, really.
Mm-hmm.
If you are dealing with a marriage and you're married to a person, and the Bible is saying you're the help meet, you're that rib. Sometimes that the help that you give, you have to tailor it to what that man needs in that moment. And if he needs a breather, now come on back to me now, Mr. Good. Come on back now. Don't hey now it's been 48 hours, bro. You good? When we
Knock
gonna
knock. What's going on?
I mean, and that's about communication, and you learn your mate, you learn what that breathing time looks like. It may be tomorrow, it may be 2 days from now, depending on what's going on. But if you keep inching, as my husband says, teaching and teaching and pushing and pushing, it turns into nagging.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it can come across as mothering.
Yeah.
Hashtag
You,
we ain't
you,
say mama.
yeah. Because you think you're helping, but
You
you
think
just
you
like
are, but it's
you're
coming
like
across like mama. What's wrong with you? Come here.
what?
Or unnecessary
Yes,
aggression.
NJ. Clear
Unnecessary aggression.
communication. Yes, because and let me tell y'all something about LHG. My background
Testify.
is
Uh-uh.
training. My background
You
is
said no.
don't let the sun go down on your anger. So here's a good point. Felicia brought in a good point, y'all. So how do you maneuver if you don't want to talk about it in that moment and you don't want the sun to
What's
go
going
down
on with
on
your face?
your anger,
I like it.
then I guess you gotta agree
Yeah.
to I love you. Let's talk about it tomorrow, but
She
I
like
don't
dog.
be angry. Maybe that's how you gotta approach that. What you think about that, Felicia? If the man doesn't want to go deep about it in that moment, I don't want the sun to go down on the anger.
I'm gonna say it is
How do
because
you address it in that moment?
I'm gonna say this. Give me some time to let that simmer, let that marinate in me.
Okay.
Because for me, it's I had we I need I'm gonna need that time to allow things to process.
Okay.
So if the sun goes down tomorrow and I'm still feeling some sort of way, then let me feel that way. But at the same time, I'm not gonna shut myself down. I'm still gonna be open to wanting to
Okay.
talk about it. But
It was good.
when I'm ready to speak on it, I'll
I
speak
said
on it.
hey. When I walked in the door, I thought I said hey.
Funny thing about
My
that,
bad.
Mute your mic. I got you.
funny thing about that is
Sorry.
like funny thing about that is when my son passed, is that there was really no outlet for me to, well, it was, but it wasn't an outlet for me to release all those emotions because I felt like I had to be this stalwart person
Mhm.
and try to hold myself and my family down because it was just the most terrible and most devastating moment any parent or anybody could go through, losing
Of course.
somebody.
Of
And
course.
there was no outlet. I had no real outlet for my emotions because there were days where I wanted to cry. There were days I wanted to just be by myself and just allow myself to kind of process everything. But I didn't have a chance. I didn't have the opportunity to process because at that point, life still had to go forward. Life still had to move forward because I was like, I don't have time I can't take a time out for me to process what I'm going through because if I take a time out to do that, I'm gonna be looked at as being a soft dude, and all the dudes that all the guys that I was around called themselves quote unquote I'm a man's man. I don't like sensitive dudes. You being a little too soft for me, bruh. You ain't just experienced what the hell I just experienced.
Right.
That part.
But look at this comment though. Nakori says, good question. Don't shut down and say nothing. So maybe the agreement has to be, Mr. Gooden and I, if this comes up, we're not gonna hash it out too far, but I love you. We agree to disagree tonight because should something happen and one of us don't wake up tomorrow, we don't want the last thing that happened to be an argument. Can you imagine having a really intense moment? God forbid one of us doesn't wake up. And then you have to live with that was the last encounter I had with him or her. I hope they knew I loved them. So if you agree to say, I'm not saying I don't want to talk at all. I just don't want to talk about that. But I love you. Let's agree to table this. It goes back to Nakori's comment. Clear communication. Don't shut all the way down. And sometimes in the sensitive moments, we, men and women, tend to do that because it's becoming overwhelming.
Yep.
It's becoming overwhelming and I don't know what to do with these feelings. So now I'm in shutdown mode. So for me, if it's Mr. Gooden having that moment, I may have to say, okay, sweetheart, I feel like we should table this. I want us to have a good night. Let's have some dinner. And if it's the other way around, and it's me having that emotional moment like this morning, I was in a very emotional state, and, he came and consoled me. I'm a little bit more I'm way more talkative when it comes to emotions than my husband is. We're learning each other. That's what you do in marriage. You learn each other's love languages. My love language is talking. But it's not that he doesn't love me when he doesn't want to talk. It's I need to give my husband the space to become emotionally intelligent and say, how am I going to navigate with how I feel? Why do I feel it? Emotional intelligence is I'm going to sit in it and I want to, why do I feel like this right now? What triggered me? Emotional intelligence is saying I need to understand the triggers and the landslides.
Yep.
There's a trigger and there's a landslide. Something happens and is said to you that totally knocks you off your square and sends you into an emotional frenzy. That's a landslide. Ain't no trigger. That's something that's almost like an avalanche effect. So maybe the next day he may come back and say, honey, I've had a chance to sit in that. And when you said what you said, it reminded me of what happened to me 20 years ago. I don't know if you know this, honey, but I had this going on. And when you said what you said, it just took me into a really bad place. You probably didn't mean it, but can we talk about it? Because it really was a trigger, AKA or landslide. Bishop says in a relationship, you need to address these issues. That's why the Bible says, don't let the sun go down on your anger. We need to deal with what's going on.
I will add to that in due time. I will add the words in due time.
But the sun can't go down on the anger though. The anger part.
I get that, LSG, but in due time. What do
you mean by in due time?
What I mean in due time? When I mean in due time, give me the chance to process.
Okay.
Give me the
But
chance
the
to
anger part, though,
analyze.
we don't want the sun to go down on the anger. So that's going to take a mature human being, man and woman. If you're rooted and grounded in the word, it's going to take saying, how do we honor the word and say, this moment got me angry. I don't want to take this anger in through the night. So can we say, I love you? We can table the meat of it, but there's something that we need to discuss in the morning. But can we at least get rid of the anger? Because I'm gonna be honest, I hate when we mad at each other. Me and Mr. Gooden. I hate it. Is the most uncomfortable. You on one end of the bed, I'm on one end of the bed. I'm not. Give me that blanket. You ain't getting no cover. Off my pillow. That is not. That really is uncomfortable spiritually, mentally. You don't want
to be honest with y'all.
Like, I ain't saying nothing. He ain't saying that. We stubborn, two stubborn people. We are married, and if we go honor the word, I want us to get to a point, couples. I'm not saying we got to be up to 3 a.m. doing a bullet point presentation. But I'm saying,
we not doing that.
Absolutely not.
Now, I would.
So you're gonna take your own words in, right?
I would like to do that. Yeah,
we not doing no bullet.
Not at 3 a.m, no man.
That would be me. Look, let's talk about let's write it out on the whiteboard. Man. But yes,
I would be asleep.
Yes, I am.
Exactly. Why am I looking at a projector right now? I'm going back to bed.
It's a good point. I do want to do better because I know we've both been guilty of that. Like, we don't want to be the first one to be like, I'm sorry. So I got my arms folded like, He got his arms folded.
But you
don't say sorry first. I ain't talking. I ain't saying sorry either.
But you may as well say I'm sorry. That's part of the conversation.
Listen, I go in
there. Man, look here.
So we need to at least agree to say, if we get into a heated moment, it could be in the morning time, it can be in the afternoon. Let the agreement be, let's not let the anger continue on this level. Can we agree that we love each other? We're two different individuals. We don't have the same brain. We're not gonna agree on every. And let me say this, sensitive brothers. Oh, you didn't got me started. Now you didn't got me started. Now, just because a woman don't agree with you, don't mean she's coming for you.
Oh,
okay.
So
really?
I agree. I agree with
just
that.
Because, and I'm in general, just because someone disagrees with you doesn't mean they're trying to argue with you.
I have that problem. I'm gonna be honest, because a lot of times when I get into a conflict with somebody, I feel like if I feel like if I get in a conflict with somebody, a lot of times I feel like they're attacking me because they're not agreeing or they're not hearing my side of the story. So I feel like they're not hearing me. So I feel like they're attacking me.
Let me get to Felicia's comment. She says the Bible says, "Be angry
and sin not." But if your anger is shutting out your spouse,
okay, that's a good point. If your anger is saying, "I don't even want to talk to you right now," then that means when you're shutting them out, that's when it's turning into the anger.
Wow.
Okay,
you gotta agree with that and say, "Listen,
I agree.
Down on you." We gotta agree. It's the word of God.
I agree.
This is the word of God. And
that's Bible.
She's right, and this is what's gonna make for a better relationship when we agree that we disagree, but we still love each other. We don't want to go to bed angry. We want to honor the Lord and His word, so He can continue to bless this relationship. That's the thing. We want Him to bless this union, which means we got to make some changes, sensitive or not, to do what the word of God is saying. So going to bed mad, waking up mad, not talking for 2 days, simmering and letting that thing fester. That's where you definitely going into the sin zone. But let's get back to what you said, Simone. When people disagree, depending on how it's being presented to you,
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If they present their idea, their perspective, it isn't maybe an attack or depending on their language too. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It could just really mean, and this is big in marriage, when you present an alternate opinion, a perspective, an outlook. I got a brain, Mr. Gooden got a brain. He says, well, honey, I feel blank. And if I say, you know what, I get that, I respect that, but I feel this. In the sensitive moment, it shouldn't be you knocking me down for my idea. No, your idea, your feelings, is all valid. It's just that mine happen to be different. Shawan Jones, thank you for tuning in. The Bible verse says, "Be quick to hear." This is good. Slow, y'all bringing the word tonight. Slow to speak and slow to anger. It's important that we be mindful that words, ooh,
They do hurt.
Indeed.
They hurt.
words hurt.
Indeed.
Yes.
And
What is it? Proverbs 18:21.
when you've opened yourself up to the anger, and now you want to hurt them the way you hurt, and now you're going deeper into the anger and deeper into sin.
See,
I want them to hurt how they hurt me, and now I'm gonna make the lowest jab that I can come up with. I'm guilty of that, and I apologize, Mr. Gooden, because in that moment I wasn't quick to hear. I wasn't slow to speak. I was slow to hear and quick to speak. I flipped it.
And I'm gonna be honest again. That's how I am in a lot of instances.
And we being honest tonight. That's why we do these discussions.
I am a lot
real.
of times. I think I know we've heard this. But I think it goes. We want to hear in order to respond. I think that's how I see it.
Rebut. Yes. I get my rebuttal. Listen, I be like this. Mm-hmm.
But I want this
ready.
one.
Read
Yeah,
this.
yeah, ready.
Come on.
When I say I'll be ready for a
Mr.
comeback.
Ashton.
When I say I'll be ready for a comeback, you just go. It's just like I'm trying every day to learn that a lot of things don't need a response.
Come on.
When I say I'm trying to learn
Girl, you are in my deliverance package.
Come on.
Because a lot of things you pick I could hear Felicia saying, pick your battles.
There you do got to pick.
Everything ain't got to be a battle. Everything ain't worthy of a clapback. Sometimes if you pursuing peace, and Mr. Good knows I talk about the pursuit of peace quite a bit. If you're pursuing peace, I'm listening to my husband, not to respond, but to hear him. How do you respect and love the sensitive man? You hear him out. You don't interrupt. It's like customer service. They teach us to try not to interrupt the customer. Let them get out their problems so you can understand what it is. Don't keep interjecting. Just let them get it out. Whatever it is, just and don't do double dutch. Oh, I'm about to jump in. I'm guilty.
It's my part right here.
Like double dutch, baby. I'm about to, as soon as he goes, I'm like, look, but that no. And communication is key. You're right. But
Very
when you
so.
are dealing with a sensitive man, sensitive anybody, woman, here, this is just a good practice, period. Hear each other out completely.
Go have to.
And I'm gonna even add this. We used to do this when I was younger, in communications class. When a person is done talking, how can you tell they're done? They will say, and I yield the floor. Or something like, now it's your turn. Because you don't know when they're done. But they can say something like a cue, like, okay, I'm ready to hear your perspective.
And you know what's crazy? That doesn't exist anymore.
No.
We just say, are you done?
Are you done?
And see, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, that phrase
are
right
you done
there.
Now?
That phrase right there.
You finished.
See, that phrase, those phrases right there will set a sensitive dude off.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you done or you have the floor?
No, are you done? Is you finished? Those two phrases right there will set a sensitive dude off.
It's condescending. I mean,
and I don't think it's just a dude. It will set us off too. Not just y'all. It will set us off too. Because we especially when
I've said it. I've done it.
when we're in a deep conversation and we're trying to get our point across, and y'all like, are you done now?
Exactly.
Like we're literally pouring out our heart.
It's not the greatest.
Either one of us, male or female, we're literally pouring out our heart.
Find one that'll work for that will sound better. Like I yield the floor.
See, for me, when I make my point, I just don't say nothing.
I've never heard that one before. I yield the floor.
When I make my point, I don't say nothing else.
Okay.
That's the business. That's the business part of LHG, y'all. I yield the floor. That's that business part coming out.
See, when I'm done speaking, I don't say nothing else. When I'm done making my point, I don't say nothing else.
So you just go silent, and then that's the cue for the person to say,
exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. And that's good. Silence is good. Sometimes people get silent for a minute and they come back with something else. So
that is true.
I'll be wanting to make sure the person is done.
It's completely done. Yeah.
Shawan said it comes off nonchalant. It does come off nonchalant. Like, are you done?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll admit I've said that a lot in my past, but when you know better, and that's why we have these discussions. We talked about how to love a sensitive man. The first one was listen, hear him out, give him space, and then I'm gonna throw this in there. Let him cry.
Oh yeah.
Please don't make a man feel a certain way because of tears.
Oh yeah.
We are in a human experience. Whatever the tears come from, we can figure that part out later. But in that moment, let that man shed whatever tears he needs to shed without making him feel as though he is less of a man because he is emotional in that moment.
I'm glad you said that.
I like that, Shawan. So what are your thoughts? Or what do you think about that?
I'm glad you said let a man cry, because to be honest with you, I've literally never seen my father cry until his father died.
Okay.
That's so here. Like the times I was around him, I've never seen him ever shed a tear until his father passed.
Okay.
And maybe when his mom passed too. I might have seen it. I don't remember. But that's good that you said that, because we hold them to a higher standard of masculinity.
Yes, we do.
So we don't want them to shed a single tear, no matter what happens.
Nope.
The world could be on fire. We just like, yo, man up. What you crying for?
Crying is a cleansing. That's the way of cleansing and processing. Sometimes I'm just gonna be a good cry for me. Sometimes will get me together. Like I'm good now.
I'm learning that.
Had a whole moment this morning. This has been an emotional week, but it's like once I got it out, I'm like, I'm good. But when you don't allow that man to do that, where do you think that frustration and grief or whatever is going?
Inside.
Yeah. Therefore, you are more susceptible to mental turmoil.
And I think it gets deeper every time they hold it in.
The problem is that women have a tendency to devalue a sensitive man as being weak. Come on, Shawan.
Let the church say amen.
Strength to have a man that shows. That's the key word. Sensitivity breeds vulnerability.
God has spoken.
Vulnerability leaves you.
Amen.
Do women want a vulnerable dude?
90% not.
90%, 95% of 100.
Not really.
But for me, I play it. I'm not gonna change who I am, because I'm not gonna change who I am, or I'm not gonna change up my mode of operation just because to attract a particular person. I'm not doing that.
Part.
You go either you gonna take me as I am, or I'm gonna take you as you are, or we're not doing this.
But let's go a little bit deeper.
As I am.
You better sing, Simone. A woman may not be with a man like that because a lot of women aren't even self-aware. Many of us have been so jacked up, and we've been so if you haven't become self-aware of who you are and your own emotions, your own triggers, your own landslides, you're not going to be able to cohabitate with a sensitive man because you haven't even touched your own sensitivity. You're not emotionally intelligent to say what's going on with you. So if you can't get you together, then how you're not gonna understand him? It's gonna be foreign to you. Why are you crying? Why are you?
That's why I said it does. See, if you
Yes,
have
that does go
experience,
back to his show.
if you haven't experienced me, if you don't have the experience, if you're a woman and you don't have the experience of being around a sensitive man or an emotionally intelligent dude, somebody that will speak his mind and speak his heart, then that's gonna be very foreign to you. That's gonna be very strange to you. That's gonna be very that's more likely gonna be very frustrating for you.
And that's one of the reasons why a lot of relationships suffer, because it takes more than love. So here you
You
are
gotta
in a
communicate.
relationship, in a marriage, where you may love each other, but you may not even understand or truly know the intricacies of a person's past, what triggers and landslides exist. And if you're not communicating, what is it based on?
Not only does it take more than love, but it takes more than intimacy. Like, I'm
You gotta go
actually talking
deep.
about physical intimacy.
You gotta be willing to talk about things, couples, people of the universe that may bring that lump in your throat. Okay, sensitive man, I'm talking to you tonight. So you feeling all these emotions, they need to come up and out. Because if they don't, they're going to manifest themselves in other ways.
And
yes, up and out. You need to regurgitate. You need to let that stuff out. Yes.
Listen. I thought of a couple.
Comment here. That's a whole other show as to why so many women are operating in masculine energy. It comes from women taking on roles. We talked about that. You spot on. That require them to be the man when no man is around. Single moms, bosses. You know, when we come into to a marriage already in that mode of wearing the pants, it transfers into the relationship. Now that sensitive man is feeling like you are what's the word? Demeaning, degrading, demasculating. Is that a word?
Demasculating.
There it is. And we do. And we do. Because that we've been operating out of order.
For a long time.
Not our fault so much, but we've had to step up into that role. We've had to walk in those shoes. So when a man comes to be in a relationship with that kind of woman, there has to be some deprogramming.
Absolutely.
Some trust. She got to be able to trust.
Compromise.
And compromise. Yes.
Absolutely. We got to knock down those walls.
Absolutely.
So because again, like I said before, we have built up those walls because we've been in that space for so long.
Right.
We have built up those walls. We have gotten them up so high. He's trying to climb over them. He can barely climb over them.
We've been hurt so much. We almost want to hurt you before you hurt us. I'm gonna go and tear you down before you jack me up. I'm gonna go on and knock you out before you knock me out. I've been wounded so deeply. I almost expect you to walk away from me.
That part.
But see, that's not good either, though. That's not good either.
Horrible.
But I mean, the way I look at it is like, so if you're expecting me to hurt you, but your defense is already up, and I haven't even made a move yet. I haven't even made any type of aggressive move to even even destroy your defenses. The only thing I want to do is just love you and care about you.
That's what
because
and low self-esteem can
those
do.
Walls. We built those walls. We built those walls so high. We expect y'all. We trying to get y'all to climb over them. Y'all can barely climb them.
Listen, and now we putting these expectations that are so unrealistic that they're set up to fail. See, I knew you couldn't climb over that wall, that Mount Everest. I knew you couldn't get up that high. I know it.
I'll put it like this. I'm only climbing as high as my limitations will allow me to.
Come on.
I'm only climbing as high as my limitations will allow me to. If you are not going to open yourself up to me and allow me to at least
vulnerability. There's
at least
open up.
experience you at least experience you in an emotionally
Yes.
intimate way.
Yes.
Then what it doesn't really
Without
make a
fear.
difference for me to try to build because I'm not
I
trying to
agree.
because I'm
I
not trying
think now,
not trying to destroy nothing.
this generation is so focused on the sex that we don't really worry about the mental and emotional capacity of a relationship.
But see,
Right.
but the funny thing about that is said, but sex is also an emotional and physical
That is
exchange.
true.
It can
That is
be.
true.
We got a comment here from Mr. Abston. He feels that understanding a sensitive man takes a lot of work. Yes. For the woman and the man, because I feel like a man needs to be able to speak his mind without consequences. Woo!
That part.
Absolutely.
Let him speak his mind without trying to
Without
rebut
repercussion.
or emasculate the emotions. Just let him speak what he needs to speak and sit in that. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
It's either both or the moment someone says that I'm too soft for being sensitive and stuff like that. It's for me. It's
you going down, Mr. Gooden?
No, my phone is dying.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us.
I'm charging it now. We're good, I think.
You good?
I'm finna get ready to eat me some dinner.
Have you some dinner, Mr. Gooden. Thank you for being on tonight.
Have a good night.
I'll be back again, y'all.
Please and thank
you. See, for me, the moment that you devalue my emotions, it becomes to the point for me where I'm just not gonna be. I'm not gonna be.
There you go.
I'm not gonna be attached. I'm not gonna be engaged.
And you're gonna shut down.
Well, I mean, not shut down all the way, but certain aspects of me are not gonna be open.
Right.
To you at that
be
point.
Extra guarded. That's when you have those extra guards. Right.
I'm not gonna do that. I mean, and I'll say this, y'all, as I've gotten older, I'm learning more about my sensitivity and my emotional intelligence. I'm learning to be a lot more discerning of how people talk to me, how people speak to me, how they address me and stuff like that. The one thing that I told my ex-wife, told my ex-wife is that, look, if you want to communicate with me, talk to me, not at me.
Yep. That's true.
She said, well, what's the difference? Talking to me
it's a very big difference.
But she act like there wasn't a difference.
There's a very
talking to me is like being intelligent and we having a normal conversation. Talking at me is yelling and screaming. I'm at the age right now. I won't even say the age. I'm at a point in my life right now where conflict in a relationship, man, please. I'm not even finna engage in that. I'm not finna engage in a war. I'm not finna engage in a emotional war with you because you think that I'm soft or I'm weak or something. I'm not even engaged in no emotional war with you because that's bad for mine. That's bad for my emotional health. That's bad for my emotional psyche. And hell, I'm not gonna do that no way because that ends up being a waste of my time.
Absolutely. Mr. Crouch, welcome. Mr. Crouch, thank you. Anyone that devalues me becomes a non-factor. Boom. You can't be in a relationship and not speak life into your significant other.
Word. That's good. Word.
That's deep.
Good. And speaking of that, when you are married to a sensitive man, he doesn't need us women to validate his feelings. He needs reassurance that we are on board. The validation, that's between him and God. You know what I mean? Our approval. I approve of that emotion. No, he just needs our reassurance. Let him speak. Speak life into your mate. I agree with that. Come on, boundaries. How many of us have them?
Yep.
But Mr. Couch, you hit on something really big. When you are in a relationship, and even with what you were saying, Fred, speaking at someone versus to them, I will admit, in the fiber of my being is a bossy lady. I will admit that. And there are times when I know I'm being so direct that it's way too harsh. It's way too, it needs to be softer. It needs to be more of a dialogue than a dissertation or a lecture.
Right.
I'm a good lecturer, baby. I can lecture real good, honey. Pass out handouts and everything. Do all slideshow. I'm not your student, honey. I'm your husband. I'm not your trainee. I'm your husband. You're not training me on something. You are talking to me. So yes, as a woman, I gotta improve. I know me. I know my limitations, honey. I'm just transparent as an open window.
She'll
I
take you to
know.
school. Literally, she will literally take you to school.
But you know, I have to curb that in a marriage. Like if I'm doing a Zoom and I'm teaching someone about customer service, I can be the teacher to the stars. But in a marriage, we are partners. There's no
whole different ball game
and trainee. There's no boss and there's no superior and subordinate. It is we are on the same level in terms of, you know, our intelligence. I have a very smart husband. We have different levels of expertise. When you're in a relationship, you acknowledge that you got different lanes you in, but you're a team. And when you bring it together, hey, we on the same side. We ain't competitors.
Exactly. But but both people have to realize that instead of being that you're not competitors and stuff like that, that you're teammates. And to me, the way I look at it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who calls the damn play. Just get the play out. Just get the play out and run the play. Doesn't
look
matter.
At this. Look at this comment, Mr.
Women with that alpha gene are very harsh now, which is the reason why men don't buy into commitment anymore. Oh,
bruh,
no.
Hold on, stop. First of all,
is deep.
that alpha beta male female crap, kill it. Just kill it. Just dead. Excuse my French. Dead that shit right now. Because
women are not bosses; they're supposed to be helpers. That part.
That alpha beta male stuff, man. Y'all female stuff. Y'all need to drop that.
That's not even just for relationships. That's just period. Like
y'all need to date.
Especially
anybody who
now.
says that, Lord have mercy. Anybody who says that crap right there, I'm an alpha male, I'm an alpha female.
Kill it.
First of all, and I'm saying this out loud, you're delusional. You're delusional as hell. Because let me tell you what that is.
He said about why men don't buy into commitment. So I feel like if you have a sensitive man in your life, he's probably more apt to be more committed. Because of the emotional intelligence and the love and the respect, you probably will get more commitment out of a sensitive man versus an insensitive one, because he's really in it. He's really in tune to the feelings of both parties.
Yep.
So we have to see the value of sensitivity, the value of a person who feels and is not afraid to show emotion. There's value in that. There's value in that.
Look at this. That right there. That right there. What David said makes so much sense. It makes so much sense, and it brings a lot of what we've been talking about home, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
it does. It really does.
The balance of both parents are vital.
Very much.
Parents need to be emotionally intelligent and pour into their children. Both parents need to give affection to their children. Don't just leave that for go to your mama for a hug. Go to your mama. No, Dad. You should give an emotion to the child too.
And this thing about competition is not even just about in relationships. It's just period. Like this whole generation, this whole world is literally in competition for whatever reason.
Ooh, wow. Mr. Absence says a sensitive man sometimes just wants you to listen to them and not judge them for my transgressions. And that can be tough for certain types of women or people in general, because you're listening and they're forming these prejudgments. But a true friend, mate, helpmeet is listening to know for the information, for the intel. And they can govern themselves accordingly to be a helper to you. I get that.
And let me say this to y'all. Say this to y'all, to women and men. What a lot of women don't understand about a sensitive man is this: a sensitive man can care about you and love you in a much more emotionally intimate way than an insensitive guy. Probably could love you in a more in a much more intimate way, physically as well as emotionally as well as
Wow.
mentally as well. Because number one, me personally, I want to know who you are inside and outside. I want to know who you are
Good.
as a person externally, but I also want to know who you are internally as well. I don't want to know the whole story, the whole story, but I just want to know enough of it for me be invested,
Mm-hmm.
to be emotionally invested, to be
That's the
emotionally
key.
invested.
Emotional investment. When I in my dating
Yeah.
time, the brothers would tell me, you just talk too much because I want to get emotionally invested. I want to get to know you. If a man doesn't want to have a conversation with you at a date and he want to go straight, to the intimacy, he don't want to invest nothing
Absolutely
but
nothing.
physical. If a person likes you, loves you, wants to get to know you, they will invest themselves emotionally in you.
That's
Mr.
it.
Crouch says men are naturally strong, but when you become vulnerable to a woman that's broken, and so many of us are, you have
Wow.
to mute his manhood. We gotta work on that.
Big
Wow.
time.
The man wants to have his manhood muted.
Nobody, no
No,
man wants
no
to.
man no man wants that.
Because when you mute a man's manhood, basically you're just like that's like telling a man he ain't a man.
That's
When
exactly
you
what
mute his
that
man,
is.
you give him no voice to speak
Mm.
to speak. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
I had both parents, so I never struggled in being sensitive.
and let me tell you
Wow.
something. A man that does it, that does that is not a man, not that does not is not able to speak,
Mhm.
because number one, becomes emotionally unavailable, becomes physically unavailable, becomes disgruntled, disrespectful, mean, harsh,
Mhm.
and this is what happens when a woman mutes a man's manhood, and
Mhm.
especially when this man was not that to begin with, was
Mhm.
not harsh, was
Mm.
not mean, was not ugly, was not quick to cut you with his words. That's what
Mhm.
happens when that happens over time, especially
Right.
when a woman continuously mutes a man's manhood.
Right.
You basically you create a version of that man who will do what he needs to do just to get by, or just to keep you off his back.
Right. Let's dive into what Shawan is saying, because I want to talk about this. This is good. This is so good. And thank you all so much for being on tonight. Please like, share, and
Thank
subscribe,
you.
and help us to get this content out. So this is good. In a relationship or marriage, it's vital to be healed before being with someone. Otherwise, you have to be willing to be an active participant in each other's healing. So I'm gonna throw this
Indeed.
out there. Is it possible to be healed from everything, or should you at least have addressed a thing and be on the journey to healing? Or should you make sure when you go down that aisle, everything is really healed, and can we do that?
So is this a general question?
Yeah, just
Okay.
you want to talk.
So
I just want to know, is it possible to say, before I get married, everything that I've dealt with in my life, I need to be healed from it? Or can you still go further with it, because at least you have addressed some stuff? Because some people
mhm,
refuse to address it, and then they get married. It comes into the marriage, and now it's a hot spot, a trigger, a
mhm,
landslide, and now you got a whole fire.
mhm.
I love that. I love that, Shawan. I want to go deeper on that. What you thinking
I
about that, Simone?
I do think it is possible to be healed from everything
Okay.
because of the healer.
All right. Come on, healer.
However, well, there should be no however. Anyway, but I do think it is possible to be healed from everything. And I also believe that there is some time where healing can take a longer process.
Mm.
And
Okay.
I think that's because the only reason why healing would take longer is, like you said, if you don't address it in that moment, or, when it comes up. So therefore, you derail that healing process, which is almost like a recovery after surgery. It is actually, because if you get surgery like you just had, let's use you as an example. You just had surgery, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if the doctor tells you, hey, LHG, I need you to sit down for 10 days, don't do nothing. Don't go to work, don't do nothing for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
And you just got to sit in the house and eat and do whatever you want to do. But don't get up, don't pull no boxes, don't move no car, don't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And you decide, well, man, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go drive my car around the city. I'm going to go pick up these 10,000-pound boxes.
That's
I'm going to go do this, I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you just did?
What I do?
You literally just derailed your healing process. You want to know why?
Facts.
Why? Because doctor said, LHG, do not pick up no heavy boxes. Don't drive no car. Don't do none of that. And you decided, well, that doctor don't know what he's talking about. Even though he just completed your surgery.
Right.
You sitting around, that doctor don't know what he's talking about. I'm good. I feel strong enough. I can lift these. I'm going to help my husband do this and that. I'm going to lift these heavy boxes. I'm going to go drive my car. Now you sitting up in the hospital wondering why your stitches have come open.
Ooh, girl. And did.
And you're looking at the doctor. You want to go in there and fuss the doctor out because you're like, hey,
girl.
yo, my stitches done came out. What's open? What's happening? LHG. Did I not tell you last week?
Didn't follow the directions and instructions.
That part. So, like I said, if you do not follow through with that healing process, it's not going to work.
That makes sense.
And that's with any surgery, period.
I get that. Let's go.
Depending on how serious the surgery is, it's still, either way it goes, it's still the same.
Mr. Crouch says healing is a decision.
Period.
And being healed.
The sentence can stop there. You didn't even have to go no further.
Broken. It starts with self-love. Yes, you have to want to be healed. First, you got to acknowledge that there's something that's not quite right. I mean, a lot of us have a problem even acknowledging I need to be healed. Mm-hmm. I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm okay. Mm-hmm. I'm good. I got this. It's all right. So what? I had this happen in my childhood. It ain't bothering me. You may not think it's bothering you, but it's manifesting itself in your relationships, your decisions, and responses. You gotta acknowledge that there is something that's happening in my life that I'm feeling. Come on, emotional intelligence. And it could be triggered by something that happened 30, 40 years ago. Therapy and Jesus is a wonderful combo meal.
Listen.
You better biggie size it.
Listen. Listen.
Hey.
That's her favorite phrase.
Extra large.
That's her favorite phrase.
Jesus and therapy, biggie size it, honey.
Listen.
Upgrade me. Because what therapy does, and men, I don't know how y'all feel about therapy because sometimes y'all push back like, I don't need that. And that could be a pride thing. I don't know. But there's nothing wrong with getting help, because if you want to show up as the best you in your relationships, to yourself first.
Listen, men and women.
Listen, Brother Crouch, you better supersize, biggie size it, honey.
Men and women and children, listen to me. Therapy will bless your entire
somebody who doesn't know you, that's able to help you. I call therapists, they put the puzzle pieces together.
Yep.
Sometimes we live in a broken state because we are fragmented. All the pieces of our past are in bits and they're not together. What the therapist can do is take you on a time traveling journey to make something that makes sense. And you don't realize the lack of this 30 years ago has you acting this way this year. And it makes sense.
That's not a joke. Literally.
The Jesus part and the healer, as you said, Simone, is going to solidify that healing and keep you on the right track so that your emotions can be regulated on a daily basis. They work in tandem. They work together.
Jesus and therapy is a combination.
Listen, what number is that? Number one? Give me number one. Biggie size, please.
Listen. What they say on Jeopardy? What is A for 200, Alex?
See, come on. And I'm talking about individual therapy. It could be couple therapy. You may need an impartial party to say, look, we want to work on what we have here.
And they take away all the bias. See, the thing about therapy, it has nothing to do with you or your family. Absolutely nothing. If you're going in by yourself, it's literally just you and whoever your therapist is.
And some employers have an employee assistance program, y'all. Take advantage of the benefits on your job.
If you go into therapy,
benefit that's free. You can get a couple of free visits. If the money is an issue or the insurance is an issue, then ask if they have an employee assistance program where you can get a list of therapists in your area and get these 2 or 3 free visits. It's worth it. You invest in you. Invest in you.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, therapy is just what she said, the number one. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you look at that menu, go ahead and already put it on your list. I'm coming to therapy cafe, and I'm just get the number one.
Right, give me my usual. They gonna get to know me so well. Hey,
like she said,
yes, Biggie size, boo. You already know. I'm thirsty.
Like she said,
I'm hungry. Angry.
Therapy is a non-biased situation. Like literally, like you and that person literally sitting face to face, whether it's physically or virtually, and y'all just literally like you pouring out your heart to them.
That may not feel good in that moment, but it's toxic. It's got to come up and out. You've been living with this toxicity in your system. God did not design you to operate with these foreign beings.
Look at this. Look.
In your body, in your mind, in your spirit. It needs to come up. It needs to come out. It's killing you. And it's messing up your connections.
And out.
Yep.
Up and out.
Up and out.
And if there's people that are causing it, stay away from them. I don't care if you grew up with them. If they are the trigger and they are the landslide, you could have went to kindergarten orientation with them. I don't care. You got to make sure that the people in your influential circle are there for a good reason, and they're helping to launch you forward, not pulling you back into the pain.
That's it.
Why go to therapy for 6 weeks? You find out who the problem is, you go back to the problem.
LHD.
Where they do that at?
You just shot yourself in the foot.
Listen, you got to do the work and you got to stay on the right path. The therapist is going to, like a teacher. A good teacher is not just teaching you something new. They're showing you what was already in your brain that you ain't even know.
You know what?
They just really telling you got some stuff in your head that you ain't even realize. They're pulling some stuff out of you.
Is it, you know what though, LG?
Listen,
and it goes back to what we talked about what I talked about on Wednesday. Could be a therapist can help you at least get to a point to where you can help you balance yourself.
That balance
and
get your equilibrium back. You've been walking, you know that VA commercial, and people was walking sideways.
Yeah, man.
I don't think I've seen that.
You ain't old enough, Simone. You
exactly. You ain't old enough.
YouTube the VA commercial, and it was that tomato juice stuff. And
I want to.
Have you had VA? Nope. And they walking like this. They're not walking straight. And that's what happens when you haven't dealt with your emotions and really sought the help of God and the therapist to get your equilibrium back. The reason why we're off kilter in this society, our equilibrium is off. We are not dealing with our trauma. We're not dealing with our issues. We're not talking. We're just popping pills, and we're not even in a good solid church home. I'm gonna go there. You're not even rooted and grounded in the Lord. I know y'all, we've been church hurt, but that's people hurt. Commit to God. He'll never fail you.
Never.
Feelings. The preacher may hurt your feelings, but commit to God. This journey of emotional intelligence is not solidified without God.
Sean,
he created you and created emotions. We got some comments down here.
Is it Sean? I want to say her name wrong.
Sure.
Shawan,
Sure.
she said, I personally carried over 20 years of unforgiveness, pain, and unsolved hurt that literally made me sick. Oh.
Ooh, literally. Where do you think a lot of mental illness comes from?
Yep.
She said you have to be tired of you have to get tired of being sick and tired.
You have to reach, sometimes that rock bottom is your friend. Sometimes hitting that rock bottom is that the fuel you need to finally get your behind some help. Yes, Mr. Crouch, you got to do the work. And it's a continual work. You got to get up and work it every day. Every day.
And I think the one thing I'll say about this is I knew I was a sensitive guy, sensitive man, from as long as I can remember. The one thing that helped me when I went to therapy, when I went to see my therapist, which I still see to this day.
Come on.
It helped me realize why I'm hardwired that way, why I'm hardwired this way.
Okay.
It helped me realize why I'm hardwired that way. It is not because of it's mostly because of what I saw my parents do, what I saw them do towards each other with each other, but also what I saw my father and my mother do with people around them and how they cared about each other. So that's one of the reasons. That's one of the ways. That's one thing that made me realize that I'm hardwired that way. But also for me, also the other thing is that I'm very, very sensitive around. I feel like I'm really sensitive with people. I won't call myself an empath because I'm not. I don't always pick up on other people's emotions, but the times where I do pick up on people's emotions, I'm very much in tune to that. And sometimes it helps. It's a help, but it also could be a bane, because sometimes you can be too in tune with somebody's emotions, and that could be to a detriment. So
that is true. There is a time when you can internalize so much.
That's the thing.
It starts to negatively affect you. There has to be a boundary. There has to be a line. And in my opinion, the Holy Spirit.
Yep.
That part.
Because there's sometimes when the Holy Spirit will put somebody on you where you can feel, but not to the point where it just knocks you out of your healing.
Right.
Now let me go to Mr. Crouch. This unforgiveness thing and dealing with things you can't control messes up the unforgiveness. I'm talking from my own experience. If there is something that we are dealing with from childhood, from adulthood, from bullying to whatever, if we haven't dealt with that and it's a ruminating thought in your head, that's where mental illness, that's the seed. That's the seed of mental illness. It's a ruminating negative space. The vortex of why did they do that to me? Come out of it. You may never know. They don't know. They ain't gonna say they sorry. It happened. It wasn't your fault. Forgive. Do what the Bible says. Forgive. Wash those. Get a good shower and some good bath and body works.
Put on some Juniper Breeze.
Juniper Breeze, baby. You know some Juniper Breeze. That's just for me. Or stress relief spread in the air and cleanse yourself.
I actually want to try that Juniper Breeze.
It's a retired fragrance. You got
now that you keep saying that,
you got to find it online, baby.
You keep saying that. I want to try that.
Yes, you have to be mindful, Shawan. When you start internalizing, and empaths do this, you can walk past somebody or hug somebody, and you start to feel so much. You're gonna have to back out to be balanced, because you will land in a hospital. So many people are hurting. So many. If you got to be careful with that. You got to ask God to help you balance that. He may want you to feel a little bit of what your brother, sister's going through, but he'll never want you to feel it so much to where it knocks your healing out the box. Now you got to go back up to the altar.
Yep.
All over again and lay out and just cover yourself with a good blanket and just lay out. You didn't just felt everything. That has to be kept in perspective, because that can be woo. Mr. Krause says unforgiveness cause alcoholism and drug addicts. My mom was a drug addict because she never forgave the person that shot and killed her best friend.
Oh, wow.
Charles, that's deep. This is what unforgiveness does. Make a decision to learn so you can live. We got to get out of here, y'all. It's 10 o'clock. That's a good place to land. Sensitive men, we love you.
That's a lot.
You have every right to be sensitive and human. Sensitivity is a part of the human experience. It wasn't designed for women only. It's a part of being human. You can cry, you can feel, you can love, you can commit, you can do all those things, but we all need to forgive. Unforgiveness can be the root of so many things.
Yes, it can.
It festers because what happened with me was I needed to know why I wasn't protected, or why this didn't happen, or why this person left. And there may never, and no real answer would ever suffice. So you're in this vortex of ruminating thoughts.
And that's the part where we get stuck on. We want to know.
Yes. We want to know.
We want to know why. Like, why did this guy do me the way he did?
Right.
Did my mom do me the way she did, or this, that, and the third? And we're stuck on that why. And it's like, are we gonna ever get an answer?
And you may not. And if you get one, it may not make sense. Mr. Absent says we should always forgive but never forget. People say forgive and forget. I don't know how to forget, because I feel like I can forgive, but I will not accept that same behavior. I will govern myself accordingly. For example, a creditor can say, I'm gonna settle the account with you, but go get another credit card with them. They're like, denied. The last one was settled, but you still risky, honey. You still not a good steward. They don't forget. The debt is charged off. I'm gonna forgive you for the debt, but I'm not gonna give you another credit card for you to
no more credit cards for you.
So you can forgive, but the forgetting may not.
But if we don't forget, are we really forgiving? That's good.
Hey, that's a whole nother show.
Really?
I feel like if I forget, now God is different. He can cast it into the sea of forgetfulness. Me, I can forgive you. I can be around you to a point, but you hurt. I don't want to ever go backwards. I want to be so.
I think the problem is with us, especially this culture, we don't want to forget.
We may not want to. I
forgive. Well, wait, hold on.
Why not?
We say we forgive, but then we turn around and something happens and we turn it back on you. So we say we forgive you, then you show up to the cookout or whatever, and we all of a sudden remember everything you just did to us last week. So we decide not to talk to you anymore.
But it's situational for me.
Mm-hmm.
Some things I can forgive, but I can't allow you to hurt me anymore.
Yeah.
I can't put myself on the line to where I've been healed, I'm whole, but because I forgot, I've opened myself back up to your shenanigans. I struggle with that, y'all. I do. We got to get out of here. We're going to do a part two. We're going to do a part two, y'all, because this was so good. I want to thank my CEO, Fred. Thank you, Simone. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Mr. Crouch, Shawan. Thank you, everybody.
The operative word is want.
Yes. We're going to do part two. So remember, tomorrow it won't be a show. We did it tonight. So don't come on looking for me tomorrow. I got me a date. I cannot be late. Date. So,
you know what?
We did it tonight.
I can't with you.
Right.
I'll be back on Tuesday for Girl Chat Weekly, though. We're going to go back into femininity. I want to thank you all for being with me tonight. This is a very good topic. I want us to be able to cohabitate as men and women in relationship and understand each other down deep to the white meat. I want to understand. I want us to be able to love better and love deeper and love stronger. I got to get out of here. I love you all. Have a good night. Subscribe.
Love you.
Help us get to 100 subscribers on Places Radio.
Shop Polished on Purpose.
And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Big up to the Shake It Up.
Shake It Up.
Shop Polished on Purpose.
Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.